The word madhu has a very ancient pedigree and evolves into many nuanced meanings in the Vedic, Vedantic, Puranic, and Kavya traditions. In the Vedas, madhu is associated with the Purna Kumbha, which stands for the overflowing Kalasha, and the word madhu stands for concepts of fertility, fecundity, and auspiciousness. In the Brihad Aranyak Upanishad, the word madhu is associated both with knowledge and truth. This is a significant shift from the Vedas, but the Upanishads, as they were idealistic in their outlook, favored the Nirakar over the Sakar, and therefore the word and the concept of madhu did not feature to any great degree in that tradition of forest discourses. Despite that, one will have to admit that madhu as an attribute of knowledge did make its presence in a seminal form in Vedanta, and it's because of this that it could grow in the future. The Kavya tradition uses the word madhu in its romantic and sensual aspects. In Kumara Sambhava, we find the phrase Dehi Mukha Kamala Madhupam, where the word madhu implies the drinking of honey from the lips of the beloved. In many poetic compositions, the word madhu signifies the honey bee going from flower to flower in search of honey. This story is told of a bee that was engrossed in drinking the honey, that it overlooked the fact that the sun was setting. The lotus folded and the bee was trapped in it all night. Sending messages from the lover to the beloved with a lotus flower was a common trope in romantic poetry. It is not until we reach the 9th century Bhagavad Puran that the word madhu acquires both an aesthetic and epistemological primacy. The defining feature of Krishna's presence in the Dashama Skandha is Madhurya. Madhu has been transformed in the Bhagavad from an adjective into a contemplative noun, and this is a very major development in our wisdom traditions. It is not enough to describe the sweetness of honey, but to become mellifluous ourselves, to activate madhur dhara or frozen streams of honey within our being. No longer is knowledge the preserve of the Pandits and the Rishis. No longer does one have to perform religious rites or rituals to taste the nectar of Jnana. It is no longer necessary to practice austerities and meditation to realize Brahman. When Krishna invites the inhabitants of Gokul, the gopis and the gopas, and even the cows to be united with each other with loving and tender affection, knowledge was not a distant and esoteric concept, but it was a joyous and even romantic activity. Krishna exudes Madhurya through his acts and his gestures, his words and his flute, his clothes and his sports. In fact, Krishna is nothing but Madhurya. Loving tenderness, lyrical softness, delicate movements, fragrant limbs, the mellifluous sounds of his flute, his innocent pranks, evocative clothes, beautiful adornments such as the Vanmala or the garland of forest flowers, serene sensuality, graceful manners, charming and sensitive, passionate but not lustful, demanding but not aggressive, all add up to the Madhurya of Krishna, a Madhurya that defines his love and which he richly shares with the gopis and the gopas and all that lives in Vrindavan. Thus the Madhurya of Krishna is entirely sensual and not intellectual. It is to be experienced and not discoursed, realized through a sensual affirmation and not ascetic rites and rituals. Madhurya then becomes the defining feature of Southern Krishnaism of the Bhagavad and distinguishes it from Vedic rituals and Vedantic sacerdotalism. And the idyllic and sensuous Vrindavan provides the perfect setting for the sweet love of Krishna and resonates with the same sensual energy. It is here where the lyrical Yamuna flows, clouds shower rain as if they were flowers, peacocks dance in ecstasy, birds sing passionately, blossoms bloom affectionately and whisper words of love. Winding creepers caress the trunks of trees as if a premika embraces her beloved. Fruit-laden branches bend to provide a blessing with a sylvan canopy. Bees dance around lotus pollen and sing a love song. Cranes and swans fly towards the mind, and Krishna and the crows are drawn to the call of the flute. And fragrant sandalwood winds intoxicate the mind. And thus it is that Vrindavan becomes the perfect locale in which Krishna's sensuous Madhurya unfolds, and all around there are flowing streams of honey, as if to fully reveal Vishnu in themselves.